So today's Thursday, June 29th. I'm gonna make a compost ring and put it in the chicken yard. I did this last year some. It works really well. So I'm gonna try it again this year. But we got way more chickens this year than we did last year, so hopefully it goes better than it did last year. Not that it didn't go good last year. We made a fair bit of compost last summer, fall, winter. The other evening I found a source of unsprayed hay for $2 a bale, and I went and got a fair bit. I'm not exactly sure how many bales I got, like 30, 38 or something, which won't go real far, won't last me a real long time, but it'll last me long enough, I think. Anyways, I'm gonna set you up on top of the chicken coop so you see better. Hopefully you can hear me. I took my mic off because it seemed to me it was getting kind of cloudy and it's directional, so I took it off for this video. Hopefully it still comes in clear. If not, I do apologize. But I think there you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a string and I'm going to put it around that hay, and I'm going to throw more hay in there and other stuff in there, and I'm going to then in the mornings when I feed them table scraps, I'm going to put the table scraps inside that ring, and I'll get in there and scratch around and poop in it and everything else and make compost out of it. So what I did was I cut a piece of chicken wire, 2 foot tall chicken wire, about 15 foot long. And the reason I cut it 15 foot long is because I wanted about a 5 foot circle. And if you're trying to cut a circle, rough guesstimations is you want your piece to be 3 times that length, so that'll get you roughly a 5 foot circle. It'll be a little under 5 foot. It's probably like 4 foot 10 or something. I never did the math on it perfectly, and it's not that important. So then I just grabbed the handful of hay and fluffed it up good so it wasn't all clumped together as it is when it comes off the bale, and fluffed that in. And I cut our asparagus down last evening to try to promote some more growth on the spears. Hopefully that works. If it does, great. If it doesn't, it is what it is. And then I'll put a layer of them in there. Then here I'm putting another layer of hay in there, fluffing it up, making sure it's not all clumped together. You know how hay is when it comes off the baler, it's packed pretty tight. So then I just keep layering it like that. In a perfect world, I would have watered every layer, made sure it was good and wet. And it needs a manure source, but it'd be nice if I had a manure source, which I do, which is only the chickens. But I don't have a floor in either of their coops, so I can't gather up that manure and put in there. But the nitrogen layer, but they'll poop in it on their own, so I won't necessarily need that. And they'll get table scraps in there every morning from now till whenever. But this is our version of the chicken tractor on steroids from Permapastures Farms. They have a lot of videos on there how to make compost with chickens. So they use meat birds a lot to do that with, and they move them weekly. They move them every week, and they'll get every week. Once they get it rolling every week, they'll get a yard of compost out of a ring about the size of that one. So that's how we're going to do our style. It's going to be done like that. So like I say, it worked for us last year. We made a fair bit of compost, and the reason for me wanting to do that is we want good healthy birds, number one, and good healthy birds make good healthy eggs. So I figure the healthier the birds are, the healthier our eggs are. And the more compost we make from them, healthy birds and making healthy eggs, will make healthy soil. So it's a win-win-win all the way around. And once we get rolling on this, and I do the math on it as far as compost cost and time, hopefully I can lower our egg prices a little bit too, because we'll be making compost from that. So that compost, if I had to buy it, would cost me money. So the point of me doing this is to save a little bit of money. Not really necessarily worried about saving any time. I just want to save a little bit of money and make a cheaper product for our consumers, our customers. Because right now our egg prices are at $4 a dozen, which ain't bad. And that's figuring in the compost we got last year, plus the feed they eat, and a little bit of our time. And the cartons ain't cheap either to buy the cartons. So that's why our price is where it is, and we buy soy-free food. We don't use soy. We do use corn. I don't have an issue with corn per se, but soy is a phytoestrogen, so most people that's allergic to eggs is actually allergic to the soy that's in the eggs, not the eggs themselves. So that's pretty much it. I should have watered it in between layers, but I didn't. Mainly because I don't have water down here on this property. I'd have to string a hose or bring buckets down, which ain't that big a deal. I just didn't do it. But we've been getting a fair bit of rain lately, so it'll wet itself in. But old Miss Cantaloupe done found her way up in. They've had this system before in the past, so they know what it's all about. The little ones have never seen this system before. But the older ones, the year-old chickens has seen this system in the past, so they know what it's all about. It's pretty hazy here too. They blame it on the Canadian wildfires, but I can't say it is or it ain't. But I'd probably blame it on something else myself, because got the fires out in Canada, and Canada's skies are clear, so you all do the math. And we've been getting a lot of rain lately too, so you can figure out what I'm thinking. Anyways, I'm gonna give you a quick tour of what I got going on in the chicken yard, just to give you a quick update. I hadn't brought you in here for a while, so I'm gonna show you around a little bit in here. So the other night, like I said, I went and got some hay, and me and the wife did, and I put out, I think I threw 6 bales in here, and the only reason I threw it in here, there's a bale there. There's just some brush and stuff I threw in there yesterday. The only reason I put that hay in here was for 2 reasons. One, I think I might make this a permanent chicken yard. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, because it's right beside the garden, the big garden. And they make a lot of compost, and the carbon, if you have a lot of carbon in there, you can't smell chicken poop. And I don't want it doesn't stink right now, and I don't want it to stink either. So that being said, I've thrown 6 bales out. So I just probably put about 1.5 bales in this ring right here. There's a couple of them in there now. So they'll scooch all that around. They'll break all this down, so I should, and do I need that ring in there? Probably not, but I'm gonna start putting their feed in there, like I said, so they'll break it down quicker. That in the ring, they'll break it down quicker. The stuff that's laying on the ground, they won't break it down as fast, but it'll still break down. And then when I pull weeds or plants or whatever out of the garden, I can just throw it up here right across the fence. So this may end up being the permanent chicken yard. I'm not sure yet. I don't want to build a permanent fence until I'm positive this is where I want the chickens to be forever. Their forever home. And then I'll build a coop if I do make this their permanent home, at least in the winter, and maybe split the flock up in the summer next year or something. I ain't sure, but if I do, I will put a permanent coop over on this side underneath this birch tree, beech tree, whatever you want to call it. So we can get the eggs from outside without having to go in, without having to come in to the chicken yard to get the eggs. Easy for me to say, right? So I'm not sure. I got 2 different style chicken tractors in this yard, and I'm not sure which one I like better. They both have their ups and downs. I like this John Siskovich style tractor. I like this style because they got a lot of room in there, and if weather's bad, they can get in there and get out of it, and they can still be outside in the fresh air and whatnot. And I like this one here. I like this style, Justin Rhodes chickshaw style. I like it pretty good too, because it's an open bottom and all they do is sleep in it. They can get under it. They can get under it if they need protection from something, predators, whatever. But the fence is always on, so it's not like there's anything can, I shouldn't say can't come in. They could. Anything could come through the fence or jump the fence or whatever if they wanted them bad enough. But when they're in their coops, neither coop, they can't get in either coop. And I know this, well, I never had nothing tried to this one that I know of, but this coop here earlier this year, I actually have that on. I don't have it on video, but I talked about it on a video, and if I can find that video, I'll link it below. But an owl tried to fly in, slammed into this one here twice that I seen when I was up on the porch. When I was up on the porch coming down to do morning chicken chores. Like I say, if I can find that video, I'll link it below. And there's always one that's noisy, which that's cool. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. I just wanted to show you a quick idea on making chicken compost and just talk about updates in the chicken yard and see what your all's opinions are and my opinions on these two chicken tractors. If I build a permanent coop, I'll build it. It won't be like either one of these. It'll be a building, sealed up so nothing can get in. But if I split the flock, or this one here, I could put this one here. I could put more meat birds in next year. Then I'd have two for meat birds. I got the other one down there on the other side of the garden. There's meat birds in it, and I'm gonna do a video on it here soon too. But so I'll probably, if I build a permanent structure here, I'll probably make the yard a little bit shorter than what it is, because down on that end it kind of blocks my property line on that side a little bit. It doesn't go all the way to the property line, but it does somewhat. And if I split it up, if I put say 12 or 15 chickens in that chickshaw next summer and let the rest in here, I'll still have 20 something birds in here, so there's still plenty of room. But I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. That's down the road next year. But next year we probably will do more meat birds, so I'll have two coops for them. But anyways, like I said, I'm gonna wrap it up here. So if you're not subscribed, please do so. If you got any questions on this or have any comments, any thoughts that you may want to share on my ideas on this chicken yard, let me know please in the comments. I'm up for any suggestions, thinking about it or discussing it or whatever. And yeah, so anyhow, check out our online store if you're local. We're open tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and we'll be at the Springs, Pennsylvania Farmers Market Saturday from 8 to 1. So anyhow, if you want any of our fresh veggies, soaps, lotions, eggs, whatever, and you see how we raise our chickens, they're out in the air, so they're considered free range by the FDA standards. I wouldn't call them free range because they're not actually outside the fence. They can't go where they want to. They have to stay inside the fence. Of course they get out sometimes, but not very often. But anyways, that's till we meet again. Take care and God bless.